UnitsPro has two different and unique time entry methods, general time and foreman time. Foreman time is intended for foremen where they have multiple individuals on their crew and multiple pieces of equipment, as opposed to general time, which is intended for individuals only. You cannot have multiple people having time entered on general time. And it's usually one or two pieces of equipment, very simplified, streamlined for the very busy general foreman, project managers, folks of that nature. So I want to give you a demonstration now of our new mobile app's capability for general time. So as with UnitsPro, you need to have the mobile app downloaded onto your device, whether that be a phone or a tablet, where it's available in the Google Play Store. And once you've downloaded it, take the credentials that are provided for you and go ahead and log in. Once you've logged in, you'll see My Timesheets. And here you can go ahead and select whether you want to use the general foreman time or the general time. If an individual only has general time, obviously this will be the only selection or option available. First thing you always want to do is configure your work week. Right here, this individual has a 4-10 week, which is going to have anything over 10 hours a day default in at overtime rates. Anything over 40 hours a week will always come in as an overtime rate, and it will give you this default of 10. The other options here are 5/8, so 8 hours a day is the default, and anything after 8 in a day becomes overtime. And then the third option is Storm, which defaults to 16 hours. This value can only be set at the beginning of the week. Once you've set it for a week, you can't change it again until the next week. There's a report icon available here, and this is where you can run your timesheets for submittal to your payroll folks. Go ahead and select your desired day, and we're going to go into that day now. So as you get in here, it's going to have you select your jobs. This individual has a default set, so the default came in with their default 10 hours, the per diem, and the default truck. Once you've picked your jobs, you'll be able to proceed, but again, we break up the jobs as to overhead jobs, assigned production jobs, unassigned production jobs. Then the plus will allow you to go ahead and add jobs if this individual is authorized to do so. So we pick the jobs that we want to enter time for, and we select our done. The equipment button that's available there is to manage your equipment. Again, the default is in there, but you can add additional equipment. It'll bring up a menu where you can pick available equipment and add it. You can remove equipment. And then this mine determines the behavior of the equipment's time. If you say this my equipment, the time for the equipment is going to default to the labor time of the individual. If you don't select that, then it's going to be 0. And the way that works is that we have many customers where a general foreman manages multiple pieces of shared equipment, predominantly stringing equipment and equipment of that nature. And so the GF will pick those jobs and put the time for those pieces of equipment only in here. So it simplifies that whole process of shared equipment time entry. So that's what we just talked about there. Now to do the actual time entry, so we picked our jobs and we had a default of overhead supervision and we added a lump sum job. Initially this would be 10 and the subordinate jobs would be equally split 5 and 5. We made a physical change here. So we changed this 5 to a 6. Because we manually changed it, it turned blue, and it adjusted the lower line to be our control line minus our manual line, or 4 hours. If we change this to 6 down here now, the top line will change to 12, updating the equipment and modifying the split on the per diem. So it's pretty simple. In a large percentage of the time, you're either charging to only overhead jobs or only production jobs. Once you have this right, the check mark submits your time. And if you need to do another day, the caret will take you forward or backwards in the week. So again, individuals with no crew members will manage their time using this general time. But there are some instances where the individual is going to get time entered via Foreman time. And this is predominantly where the time has to be entered at a phase code level. We have one major utility that requires storm T&E work to be entered at a phase code level. You cannot enter that detail of information in general time. We've kept it very simple. So in this case, the person would have to enter their time via a Foreman timesheet. When it's entered via a Foreman timesheet, the general time user will see this information when they go into general time. Let's take a look. So here is the general timesheet now, and you can see we've got an assigned job. This came from Foreman time, and we know it came from Foreman time because it's in yellow. The hours are locked, keeping the hours consistent for billing and allowing people to modify this within Foreman time and or general time is proven just to be too complex. So we lock this time here, although we do allow per diem and equipment hours to be modified here. The per diem is gray here because this particular job is set up so as to not allow per diem. You also note here this is gray because this job is set up to not allow double time. So this is all set up fine. And if this is incorrect, we're going to have to go back and to the source and fix that. So we've got this little zoom here that will take you back to the source where these hours can be modified and resubmitted, and then they will reflect over into general time. So, but generally, again, this Foreman time entry is not going to be here. It's very rare occasions that it's used, but when it is, you need to be able to modify it and make it right. So we expect that you can find general time very simple and easy to use. Individuals can do it from their phones and their tablets. If you have any issues or comments, please let your organization's UnitPro administrator know, and they'll contact us with an enhancement request. Thanks for using UnitsPro.